Last night was a devastating night in terms of the sports world. Now I will say that not everything has gone so horribly so far, but at the same time, everything went horribly last night. First of all, the Las Vegas Golden Knights failed to sweep the Dallas Stars. Considering the Florida Panthers swept the Carolina Hurricanes, it's pretty embarrassing. The Las Vegas Golden Knights went up 3-0, but lost last night's game. Now, am I concerned for the Golden Knights? No. Dallas still has to win 3 more games. And in hockey, they're 4-200 in terms of making it past their 1942 Stanley Cup Finals, and there were a few other playoff rounds I don't remember where that 3-0 deficit was actually overturned. It's called a reverse sweep, in case you were wondering, but I'm not too concerned about any of that. But what I am highly concerned about is the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not happy that the Denver Nuggets swept the Los Angeles Lakers because they don't like Nikola Jokic, but this Miami Heat series has been brutal. After going up 3-0, Miami Heat looked like they were going to sweep the series, but Boston Celtics won the last 2 games. Now, am I concerned? Here's the thing. In basketball, they're 0-149. The Celtics would have to be the first team in NBA history to overcome this kind of a deficit. Here's the problem, though. Boston is known for sports teams making unprecedented comebacks. The baseball teams are 1-39 in such situations. The only baseball team to overcome a 3-0 deficit was the Boston Red Sox in the 2004 ALCS, when, fun fact, the Red Sox trailed in both games 4 and 5. I mean, Miami Heat took a lead deep into game 4, but they were unable to finish off strong. And I'm telling you, this is scary, because it's not just that. In football, the New England Patriots, they were able to make that historic Super Bowl comeback, down 25. The biggest Super Bowl comeback in history before that was 10. That's right, the Chiefs comeback against the Eagles, second biggest and tied for second biggest in Super Bowl history. And yet, well, yeah, a 3-way tie, actually. And then look at the Patriots. Patriots were able to come back from 28-3 with only 17 minutes and 6 seconds of game time. What scares me the most about the Boston Celtics is that they are literally 96 minutes away from making history and joining the NBA Finals when there's 2 teams I hate, the Celtics and the Nuggets. I would have preferred Heat versus Lakers. I mean, honestly, I'll accept Heat versus Nuggets if the Heat can win. I'm not a big fan of the Miami Heat, but swear to God, if Miami chokes this and winds up losing with the Celtics making NBA history as the first ever team to come back from a 3-0 deficit, that'll be really sad. And honestly, 2023 has been a big year in the playoffs. We've seen the Boston Bruins and the Milwaukee Bucks, both the top scoring teams in their leagues, failed to make it out of the wild card to the lowest team who qualified. Boston Bruins set a hockey record for most wins and most points in a single season. We saw a ton of crazy things happen in this postseason. A lot of very inspiring games, and honestly, this 3-0 comeback, if it would have happened, it would just really add to the excitement that it caused. But I swear to God, I haven't even checked the 5:30 updated odds. Chance of Boston winning the series is probably, unfortunately, sitting at about 40% right now, which is 4 times higher than what it was when the Miami Heat were up 3-0 and not just up 3-2. And I was always thinking that Boston played better at home because that's what other team does. No, they play better on the road. They do. And that's what concerns me, is the fact that the Boston Celtics, they play at .500 at home, but they play at like .650 on the road. in the playoffs. And that's not very comforting news. So, again, and I am rooting for the Miami Heat at this point. I don't know how far they'll be able to take this. All they need to do is win one game. Celtics will tie up the series, but 3 of the teams have done that, and all 3 of them have failed to actually win the Game 7 that ensued. So Celtics will still have a tough fight in Game 7. We will know by Tuesday, May 30th, who is in the NBA Finals, because the final game will be played on Memorial Day in Boston. So again, I'm hopeful for the Miami Heat, but I'm starting to lose the optimism that I once had. Now let's address the Chicago Cubs. I was heading into this game hoping that the Cubs would be able to sweep the Mets. This would therefore drag the Mets below a .500 record and take them out of the wild card spot. By the way, in case you're wondering, I think the Mets are on a wild card spot with the Pirates and the Diamondbacks, I want to say. I didn't take with the Diamondbacks chance of making the playoffs are, but Pirates are actually only at 22%. Cubs are only at about 25%. Mets are somehow at 61%. I mean, even the Baltimore Orioles are only at 52%, despite having such a high seed, mainly because 538 is starting to predict a collapse. And some of these more questionable teams, and the Mets really aren't a questionable team. They've proven themselves last year how they can do well and how they can make the playoffs and be a strong team. And the game, we're supposed to start them below .500. They failed to do that. When you look at combined points in the series, the Cubs got only 12 points of the entire series. The Mets got 14 points. The Cubs won a beautiful game Tuesday night, 7-2, and in a slightly less beautiful game, won 4-2 on Wednesday night. But last night, the Mets took a 1-0 lead, but the Cubs tied up at the bottom of the first 1-1. But since then, the Mets just kept non-stop scoring, and they were able to win in a 10-1 landslide. This is not good news for the Chicago Cubs. Mets did win the series, but there's still one more series the Cubs have to win again. I'm just telling you, an ugly, ugly time for the Chicago Cubs. I am concerned about where the season is going to be going. I think that while the Cubs have a chance to do something impressive, I think that they're going to disappoint us again. But at this point, this baseball season is really up in the air. And some history being made would be exciting, because I do not want to see any kind of history in the Eastern Conference Finals. Specifically that being the Celtics making that 3-0 comeback, which is becoming a scarily true possibility at this point. Just to end this video on a bit of more bad news, the weather forecast is looking to screw us over again. It's going to be about 73 degrees over the weekend, both days. Then it's going to jump to 79 degrees on Memorial Day. Funnily enough, I happen to have a parade that day. Then it's going to fall back into the mid-70s on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then it's going to jump up to 87 degrees on Thursday, 90 degrees on Friday. Friday is literally the worst day to have 90 degrees, because it's when we have the Music Olympics outside. I am not looking forward to any of this. There is going to be a bit of a cool down back into the 70s on Saturday, but it's just more evidence to add on to the fact that there's been a lot of bad luck recently. I mean, all my teams losing, really.